American football in Finland.
The voice in your ears and the face on your screen. I'm Perfect Purvis, and this is American Football in Finland. And today I'm joined by my co host, Coach Q. What up, Q? Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Oh,
we
yeah.
back,
Oh,
baby.
yeah. Okay.
We
We
back,
back
baby.
at it.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
I'm
We
supposed to have
back
a
at it.
little spiel, but so AFL podcast available everywhere you listen to your podcast. You can see us visually here on YouTube, wherever you listen to watch. Be sure to subscribe, follow, and like us. And anyone who listens or watches but doesn't hit the like button, we know you're a hater, and that's cool.
Big
On
hater.
with the show. I'm
Mhm.
supposed to do. It's different doing this live, but on with the show, man. There we go. All right, so this is our first down segment. Normally, I'm gonna mix up these views too. Yeah, there we
Mm.
go. That's better for me. Uh, so let's just start it off. Welcome season 10 of American football in Finland. Technically, it's not been a whole decade because the first season we did like 2 seasons in a year's time. So this is
Mhm.
actually like year 9, but I don't care. It's still season 10.
Long time.
Yeah, long time. You've been with me what since season 3?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
since
About season
season
three.
3.
Yeah.
The first two
Hmm.
seasons were a little random for me because you was coaching in season 1, and then season
Yeah.
2 we were doing like NFL or something like that, and then you came in
Hmm.
season 3 and then stuck with it. So I think
Hmm.
Chris isn't here, but I think he been on here since what season 5, something like that.
Yeah, he came a little bit after that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a couple seasons later for sure. Because season three was the year that me and Chris both were with the Wolverines back in there in Helsinki.
Wolverine.
That's where I met Chris. So he could
Yeah.
it had to be, and I think season 4 he didn't come, but I think season 5 he came in. It's a good
Yeah.
memory by me. And then so what I'm calling this season, and this is just me taking what I want out of it, is I'm calling this season the victory lap. Uh
Mm.
season 10, we've been doing it for a long time. Um a quick update, we will not do summer 2026. Like I'm not doing it. Not like
So
a
with.
personal, yeah, not like a we done forever, but like we got life stuff going on. There's some projects I want to get into, and we spent a lot of time on this podcast. Like there's a lot goes into this. We don't make any financial money out of this. This is more of a passion project. And if anybody out there is watching and listening, you know that passion projects are hard when you have, family responsibilities. I don't
Hmm.
even know. I think last year I was looking at some of the episodes from last year, and there was plenty of times where you could hear my wife in the background because as much as she loved me, she don't love this. and
Boy.
and when last year I think your little one was on a couple episodes with us, right?
Yeah.
So like
Uh
stuff
huh.
like that. Yeah, we enjoy doing this, and this is fun. But again, it is time consuming, and one of a huge thing in like Finland that I think a lot of football players have to go through as well. Um, it, Obviously, they have to practice and stuff, but the summer is really the only like good weather in Finland,
Hmm.
and then to spend it, playing football, you're on your own because if you physically like that, it's cool. But you got to think about like what me and Q are doing, and Chris, like we're spending 9 hours a week pretty much. If you say we're watching 3 games, 3 hours a game, that's 9 hours just
Hmm.
watching, just
Hmm.
looking. And then you got to spend however much time we spend preparing for the podcast, creating scripts, and then we have the social medias for the podcast. Then we actually shoot this podcast. Usually takes about 2 hours, and then editing, depending on if I'm editing or if someone else is editing. And then there goes a lot into the preparation. Like we have, video ads going out. Sometimes we have little commercials in here and stuff like making all that and preparing and scheduling how the season's gonna go. And then we do the voting at the end and for Maple League. We ramp it all like it's a lot,
Yeah.
and we enjoy doing it. And for the victory lap, we're gonna do it one more time,
One more
for the
time.
good
One
time.
more
Yeah,
time
one
for the
more
good
time
time.
for the
One more
good
time for the
time.
good time.
And again, I still think 2027 we probably be back at it. Like, cause I ain't
You
going
never know.
nowhere.
You never
Yeah,
know.
I ain't going nowhere. Like, I feel like I'm gonna take that one summer, and say, hey, do my thing. We could do like everybody does. Matter of fact, let's pull a Yanni Lindquist and just retire every year in the off season.
And come back.
Uh, yeah, come back, or like everybody for the Roosters, do something like that. We just take that one off. But so that's what's going to be going on. But going back into this year, we're going to keep it. We're going to keep it simple. We're going to keep it sweet. We're going to do live shows. We're not going to waste too much time trying to edit and all that stuff like we've done before, because I think we got a pretty good formula, and some people want to see how we do this in real time. Let you guys know that we're getting pretty good at this. Shout out to the Washed Up podcast that Q does as well. Q
Yes, sir.
expanding, doing multiple podcasts, and I've got Pro Football Sweden. So obviously we're pretty good at what we're doing. That's why we're able to do more than one podcast. So we got this down, and we're just doing this for the culture, for the AFF community, for the football community here in Finland, and everybody around the world that watches. But our format this year, we'll keep it live. I'm live right now. We're live right now on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers
Happy
out
Mother's
there.
Day. Yeah.
And as we keep it live, there might be mistakes. There might not be mistakes. We'll just see how it goes. But we're going to do it every Sunday. This is the first Sunday. There'll be no waiting, no editing. Every Sunday, 6 p.m. finish time. We're going to knock this out. Obviously, after we record, it'll be uploaded on YouTube, and then we'll share the link and stuff on the socials. But we're going to try to get you guys involved a little bit more this year as well. As we get into the season, if people want to, start hopping on the podcast, commenting throughout the podcast episode, we're going to have a little segment where we actually let, players, coaches, fans come in and talk to us on the podcast live. So that's how we're going to keep it engaging for this Victory Lap season 10, man.
Yes, sir.
So, before we get into it, how was the off season for you, Q? Tell us about it.
Oh man, it was good, man. I did a lot of family time. I'm working back in the desert, man, back in Kuwait. So spent a lot of family time in the off season before I came up here, and really just been chilling, man. Really grinding and being in the weight room, trying to stay healthy. I've been waiting for this season to start for a while, just like everybody else, man. Just happy to see some football again, and we back at it. Like you said, we started a podcast with my homies back in Tampa, the Washed Up podcast. So, what we talking about football, we talking about everything that goes on in the daily life of a male, but not only a male, black male, man. So, you get a chance to check it out. It's pretty funny. We got some serious moments, just something different, to do in the spare time. So, yeah, other than that, man, life is good, man. I can't complain. We still here. It's a lot of craziness in the U.S., but we maintain and we still going, bro. I've just been chilling, man.
That's awesome, man. For me, off season has been long. I miss doing the podcast, honestly. And I remember I told my wife that we would start back up. Like I said earlier, there were some words said. She was like, "Oh, this again." I'm like, it's part of the life now. I look forward to summer. This summer has been crazy because it's already May. And I thought it'd be warm by now. It's not warm. I still have winter coats that I have to keep in my closet because it was like 2 degrees the other day. Now it's getting up to like 11 or 12. I'm looking for 15, 16 for the summer. But this podcast is the first sign that, hey, we're almost there. Vapu, Vapu. I don't know what everybody does for Vapu, but for me, for Vapu, that's when I eat chili cheese dogs. That's kind of like my Labor Day thing. Because I don't really eat that much. So here, that's the day that I make chili cheese dogs. Usually I'll make the chili from scratch, but in January we were in the States, so I actually got a can of Wolf Texas chili that I used this year. A little taste of home. Did not work out. It did not work out good on the back end, obviously, but it was worth it. It was worth it. I had to take that chance. And my daughter is now a full 6 years old, guys. If you know, this is actually gonna be year 10 for me in Finland. Come December is my 10-year anniversary. My daughter is now 6 years old. I got her hooked onto the cheese hot dogs. Like, she don't do the chili yet, but she got cheese. And she used to just do the wiener. Then she did a wiener with bread, and now she got cheese. So that's exciting because, you know, out here there's not a lot of like Americanisms that we really do. Like, my family doesn't really do like the pork, so we don't get the ribs and the burgers and all that stuff a lot. But you know, she getting those hot dogs, so that's pretty cool. Vapu just happened, so that's my off season. Is that I've been enjoying the family life, obviously, but it's just really good to be on the podcast now, and I'm excited to get into it, man.
Oh yeah.
You know, the first episode is always like this, so we always talk a little bit too much, but yeah, I think that's good. We're back now. Let's get into some football and see what we're gonna get going on this first one. All right, so I don't even know why I do the commercial breaks since we're doing this
we live. So I ain't used to it.
Accustomed to doing the breaks. We're gonna keep them. So what we want to do this year, obviously, we don't want to get too much into it. Normally, we go into like every team into detail, try to do preview. And I'll be honest with you, there were so many changes this year that would have been impossible. Like, that would have been a very hard thing to do, to try to like figure out a lot about a lot of these teams. We have to be honest. Like, this year, there's just going to be a lot of unknowns before the season starts. There's just a lot of unknown. There's too many moving parts. A lot of teams, coaches change, players change. There's more teams in the league. The league itself has changed this year, which leads me to what we're going to talk about here. We're going to talk about the changes from the league and the updates that are happening for 2025. First things first, there will be 8 teams in the Maple League for the first time since 2014. Q, were you here in that season? Did you play 2014?
I think I was. My last season playing was 2013. So no, I came back and coached in 2015. I think I started coaching in 2015. So I think I missed 2014 season. But I pretty much know about it, and you know.
So was there 8 teams in 2013 season then? So I'm trying to think.
It seemed like it was a lot then. If I can remember, it seemed like it was a lot. Like,
let's go through
it.
Let's go through it.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, you go through it. You was there. I was there too, actually.
Yeah. So we had obviously the Roosters, 69ers, Crocs, Turku, Uvascula. Oh, that's 5. Who am I missing? Royals. Was the Royals?
Royals? No, they weren't there yet. Yeah, Porvoo. 6. You had Kovala, who I played for.
7. Man, who else did we play against?
I'm trying to remember.
Did I say Wolverines?
No, you didn't. There you go. That's 8.
Yeah, that's 8. Yeah, Wolverines. Dang,
and
it was 8.
Yeah. You said Crocs too already, right?
Yeah, I said Crocs. Yeah.
The Wolverines. I was thinking Wolverines or Roosters. Yeah, because you had to play both. So that was 8. Ooh, so we back when me and Q used to be out there back in the day.
Yeah, when the knees was good, baby. The knees was good, shoulders was good. We was back at it.
Yeah, everything was good. I was pretty decent shape myself, man.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna throw this out there because I don't have a lot of like football statistics for people to be like looking up, like you know, championship and stuff. But I did lead the league in interceptions that year. Just saying.
Yeah. You stopped me. We played against each other. A lot of people that don't know that, when me and Purvis played against each other, you stopped me. I think a few times from having a touchdown. I could have had a big day against y'all, man. You stopped me a few times, man.
Hey, I told people for years after that, and I'll still tell you today, that I used to love making the highlights with all the transitions, the circle swipe, and all that. And in 2013, people were like, "Where's the highlight?" And I was like, "Nah, all I did was save touchdowns." I was fifth in the league in tackles.
Yeah.
Fifth in the league in tackles, playing free safety, not strong safety, free safety. And I said, if I made a highlight, all you would see is a whole bunch of 20 and 30-yard runs and me just clipping ankles or taking out knees. Because I ain't playing no games. There's no chance. I'm not on anybody's highlight tape because I'm if you're already scoring, I'm not around. I'm somewhere else.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to score, I'm probably that one guy that I made that tackle. And if I know I can't make it, I wasn't trying to make it. Cause I was like, look, I can't be on too many. I think the only person who for sure, there's two people. Now we're just talking. I don't know why we're doing this, but we're just gonna do it. There's two people that I for sure am on their highlights from 2013 if y'all want to see me at my worst. And that would be Steven Stokes.
Ooh.
I tried to tackle him one time and I had him. I jumped on his back, both my hands on his shoulder pads, and it felt like he had Slickum or something on there because I just slid. I couldn't grab nothing. I was like, I got this, man, and I had nothing. And then I remember the other guy who to this day is still my favorite running back of all time, Jock Crawford. That man, he was the reason, he was the only player that I've ever played against in football in Europe where I was like, why is he not in the NFL? Not like in the CFL or somewhere. No, why is he not in the NFL? With that size, that speed, that elusiveness. And I'm myself traditionally a running back. As a defender, I always know how to tackle certain players. He was a big body. So I was like, okay, he's a big body. Let me take out these legs. Put my head on that kneecap. His knee went through my ear hole and he just kept running. Hold on. This man different.
Next time on one time too. I read a screen one time. I thought I had it, boy, and I wrapped up and everything, and I don't know what happened. He like kind of mushed me down, and that don't happen a lot. I can honestly say that don't happen a lot. I'm not on a lot of people highlight tape.
Yeah,
Jock smushed me off of him, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
I was like, oh, look, okay.
You continued my story. I was gonna say the next time I came at him, I tried to like slow play him, and he did exactly that. He put that stiffy in my face. I say, nah, this ain't right. And the third time, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go at him, and he gonna have to see me. Like I'm gonna get there so quick. He's not gonna be able to do nothing. I'm gonna da. I tried to meet him in the hole. I got there. He was somewhere else. He had juked, jump cut. I don't know what he did, but he was gone. I was like, God, like he knows how to do everything that you got to do in every situation. I was like, I can't tackle him because he is that good that he can adjust in real time that fast to all those different things. I just named 3 different ways to bring somebody down, and he avoided me in each instance. Now that's incredible. But back to the show that I guess we own is 8 teams. 8 teams in 2025. It's been 11 years. Let's talk about the divisions. So you got the East Division. We got the Butchers, the Steelers, the Wolverines, and East City Giants. And then in the West Division, you got the Roosters, Crocs, Royals, and Saints. Now, what are your thoughts about the divisions and how it's going to impact the teams?
Just off of the names and just off of the history of the teams, the division with the Roosters, the Crocs, the Royals, and the Saints, that is going to be an interesting division. That is going to be real interesting. I think obviously all games count, but those games definitely account in the division. On the other side, Butchers are probably right now the top heavy team. If you just go off a roster, they're probably the top heavy team on that side. The Saints, I mean not the Saints, but ECG. A lot of the teams they got to show up and show are they ready to come back up here and make a splash into this league. So it's going to be real interesting. I'll say that. I'll say I think this year with having these 8 teams, I think we won't have those weekends where we were like, okay, this is the best game of the weekend. I think we'll get like a lot of more games where the competition is up to the level that we want it to be. So
you got faith because I don't have that kind of faith. I'll keep it a buck. I think that what I haven't mentioned it yet, but we need to talk about the schedule. I think the schedule is what's going to make this a make or break thing for some of these teams. In each division, you get a home and away game against your division opponents, and then you play each other team once, which could be home or it could be away. So let me just throw this out there. And again, this is all preconceptions based on nothingness because I'm going to be wrong after we see week 1. But I look at it as in the East Division, your playoff teams are Butchers and Steelers. In the West Division, your playoff teams are Roosters and Crocs. Now, here's the interesting thing. In the Butchers and Steelers division, you get to play the Wolverines twice and East City Giants twice. I'm sorry, that's 4 wins. Like that, like when you look at the schedule, you're like, okay. Unless the Wolverines did something dramatic in the offseason, that's a dub. Now, East City Giant, they could surprise us, but honestly, they have a very similar roster to the Wolverines when you look at the finished talent. Just going off of the offseason, not knowing what they're actually going to do. So you're looking at that, Butchers and Steelers looking at the schedule like, okay, that's 4 wins. It still only takes 6 to get in, man. It still only takes 6 to get in. So you beat them 4 times. You just got to win 2 out of them cross-style matchups. And then there's 2 teams in the other division between the Royals and the Saints who you don't really consider them playoff teams. So you can literally lose to 3 of the top teams and still make playoffs without really like beating a playoff team. You don't have to beat a playoff team to get in the playoffs if you're in that division. Now, when you go over to the West Division, Roosters, Crocs, Royal Saints, I'm sorry, but that seems more difficult to me. I feel like the Royals team, that's just never an easy out. I mean, that's never an easy out. And even in seasons where the Royals only win 3 or 4 games, those 3 or 4 games could be all upsets or they're this close to making the playoff. Like the Royals are always a good team. So you can't, those aren't going to be like bye weeks. And then you have the Saints who, in my opinion, should have won Division I last year, if not for injuries to their quarterback and their other Americans. They had 2 Americans on the team. They both got hurt in that championship game.
I want to see Jesse. I want to see Jesse Robbins, who also went to my college, Missouri Valley. I want to see Jesse Robbins in the Maple League. I'm really interested in seeing because just knowing off of his play, I've seen him play for a few teams, and a lot of those teams they believe in him at quarterback. He's just one of those feisty, quarterbacks that can throw the ball. He can run. Big statue. For his height, and the Saints will be. I mean, for what, like you said, we don't know anything right now, but that division between them, the Royals, and the Crocs and the Roosters, man, if you can't lack any game in that division at all, because the Saints is one of those teams where these guys been playing together for I don't know how long. Like if you were a Tampa Saints player, it's very rare that you probably played for another team. The younger guys, it's very rare they play for another team. So I want to see what the Saints bring, to the table, man, for real. So that, like you said, that division is going to be interesting right there.
And in that division, you got to look at like they put the Roosters in the West, but it like traveling is also another thing in that division. Like the Roosters, again, not making any preconceptions, but they have to travel to Sineoki, to Vasa, to Tampa. Those are trips every time, and vice versa for the other team. So that's going to change things. While the Butchers, the Wolverines, the East City Giants, all those games are pretty much home.
Yeah.
So you're looking at you play 4 games, 6 games. Well, you play each team twice, right? So that's 4. Those games are pretty much at home. So you're guaranteed your 4 plus another 4. So 8 out of your 12 games are at home. The only time you go on the road is the one time you go to the Steelers and then the other 4 teams. And then again, for those 3 teams, one of those teams is the Helsinki Roosters. So those teams, their traveling is going to be totally different. And we know that in Finland, travel is how you get your roster. So your roster doesn't look the same when you have to travel than when you have home games. So for the division in the West, where you have to travel more often, probably have to travel a little farther, there's gonna be games where we're not gonna see the best versions of themselves, and it could determine how the playoffs go. I think it's crazy that the top 4 teams make playoffs.
Yeah.
Because I think top 4 teams is cool, but like there should be some type of divisional like matchup. Obviously, I think divisional wins is probably going to be like a tiebreaker for teams from different divisions and all that. But even that's what I'm saying is that I'm sorry, but if you're in the West Division, your division might be harder, so your record might not be as good.
Might not be as good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Like some like. I think it's totally possible that you have a team like the Royals play well, but not make the playoffs over a team like the Steelers, who maybe don't play well, but
won more games.
But beat the Helsinki teams. Yeah, they won more of their division games. They beat the Helsinki teams, get 4 wins, while the Royals only win. They only beat the Crocs once, the Saints once in their division. And they beat the Wolverines and East City Giants as well, but they don't get to play them twice, So they both end up with, say, 4 wins, which is possible.
Possible, yeah.
I mean,
possible.
that's what I'm saying. Like, those same 4 wins don't have the same quality to me, obviously, based on the competition. But there's nothing to confirm or deny that when you look at the actual like playoff record. So that'll be interesting for sure. But moving on, the next thing I wanted to talk about was the import rules. I think that's something that we kind of gloss over every year and kind of assume that everybody understands what the import rules are. But this year we're going to go through it so people understand it a little bit better going into the season. In Finland, in the SHAL, imports are considered non-EU players. As in, you do not have a European passport or citizenship of a European country, which means if someone from Sweden, France, Germany comes and plays in Finland, they do not count against the import rules. Now, do we still call them an import? Yeah. But under that ruling, that means the possibility and what we normally see in Finland is that most teams carry about 8 to 9 imports. And now the new rule that they made last year is that, you can have four non-EU imports, but you can also have an offensive lineman who doesn't count against that 4. So basically you can have 5 Americans on your team and only 2 can be on the field at the same time. And actually, you can have 3 on the same time when that offensive lineman is on the field. So basically what most teams do is they get 2 offensive players, 2 defensive players, and an offensive lineman. I mean, that's what I would do.
Smart.
And those are just your Americans. Now, what's tricky about Finland, again, is I don't know what they call it now, and somebody probably should comment and let me know, but I guess I'm calling it the homegrown rule, is if you're here long enough to get Kela services for a certain amount of years, I think 3 years or something like that, you become a Finnish player on the field. Now, what they did last year is they ended that. But you can be grandfathered in. So if I'm not mistaken, players like Slater, I think he is. I'm not 100% sure, but I think he is. Players like Curtis Slater, Christian Powell, I'm throw this out there, Robert Johnson, because you never know.
Never know. Yeah.
RJ Long, whether he comes back anytime soon or not. Same thing with the Irvin kid. All these players that they might not be playing this year, they will forever count as Finnish because they live in Finland, they have residency in Finland, and they have the benefits from Finland for the amount of time that you needed it. That's pretty much all it is. Now, those players don't count against your import quota either, which means, like we saw a few years ago with the Wolverines, you can possibly – one year the Wolverines had 10 Americans on their team. And here's the kicker: they still ain't win nothing.
Look, we thought
So
they would.
and that's what a lot of Finnish people keep telling me, and I ain't mad at y'all for saying it. Just because you're American don't mean you're better at American football. It does not. I mean, also, not all the Americans were football players. Some of them were like former basketball players, just happened to live in Finland, or not even sports players, but good enough to be on the team, like stuff like that. But still, they had 10 Americans and couldn't win nothing. So that's just the import rules. Again, that's going to affect how this league structure for this year as well, because with such an open import like system here, being able to bring in Europeans, being able to have offensive linemen from the States, and then being able to have 4 Americans, like outright Americans, it means we've seen a lot of change in these rosters and these teams from last year, and it's going to be hard to understand or know what's going to happen before it happens. And that's why this year we're going to do the show a little bit different. But before we jump into it, Q, what is your overall thoughts about all these changes going into this season and how you think it's going to affect things?
I'm sure the reason why the import rule change came is probably to help some other teams be a little more competitive than they have been, because obviously you know the money that you have basically puts out there how much you can how much you're going to compete, and having the ability to have multiple players on your team, especially imports, they can affect different games in different ways. So I like it. I like the rule: two Americans out at the same time, and then one could be an O lineman. So the game is definitely going to be more competitive, and it's going to be interesting to see how these coaches use their players and use their imports. I'm sure we're going to see some two-way players, which will be interesting to see. But I like it. If it makes the game better, if it makes people want to come see the game, if it makes it more entertaining, then I'm all for it, man. So let's just light the scoreboard up like it used to be. And I won't go back to a long time ago when I first started in Finland, but
episode 1, we might as well reminisce. We always reminisce on the first one.
It was always, and this was the Robert Johnson, Cedric Johnson, Steven Stokes, Charles McCray area.
Oh yeah, McCray
era. Joseph Dawes. Like these were 50-point games every game. It wasn't like it didn't matter who you had in your defense. It didn't matter. We literally had I would say all pro, but literally all American imports. That's back when you had to be the best of the best imports in come to Finland. And it was 50 games. It was 50 burgers all the time. The game it was never over. The game was never over. So,
but also both teams were putting up points, like a little different than what we see now. Like if a team put up 50, they had to put up 50 because the other team was putting up 40.
They putting up, This and it was entertaining. It was entertaining. So if it makes the game more entertaining, if it brings more people, I'm all with it, man. So I'm interested to see how these teams use their imports with these new rules. So we're gonna find out real soon.
You know what? I was gonna have a different stance on it and get all like, well, it should be like this and like that. But you convinced me, man. It's all love, right? As long as we have fun, I'm cool with it. I would be crazy and say this, man. Why not? I think that when I'm looking at what the SHAL is doing in terms of adding that offensive line position, from my point of view, they added that because teams don't have enough linemen.
Yeah.
And my initial reaction was, well, damn it, y'all need to recruit better. You need more linemen in your youth program so they can become on the men's team, and you need to focus on that. But now that I've stepped away long enough in the offseason to look around at the world and see how it is, I understand. You tell me how you're going to recruit a chubby kid to play American football in 2025.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to happen. So it means you're not going to be able to get linemen. You're not going to be able to recruit. The number one position requested, I get emails, texts, messages weekly in Europe. The number one position requested is, do you have a EU O lineman for me? And I'm like, I wish I did, because they're hard to find. So what the Maple League did, I think is a really smart move, is instead of, constantly teams trying to figure that out or us pointing out those weak links, which we point them out on this show, just so y'all know. If your O-lineman ain't good, I'm gonna let you know. Because that's kind of what I've been doing the last 3 years, is like watching O-line play. Especially when we start voting for like top players, want to have it right, and O-line play is really where it's easy to get it wrong. But what the Maple League has done is said, okay, well, we're gonna take that out. Like, that's not going to be a reason that the Maple League isn't as competitive as other leagues in Europe. And that's a really good move. And now with this new, like, okay, we could just keep our 17 format. No, let's bump it up to 8. Let's change how this league is done. And that's going to make it more exciting, because adding that 18, that adds probably another 10 to 15 imports into the league, which makes the competition level change just that much better. Than now, this is, again, and still one of the most competitive leagues in Europe. I think what they're doing is making sure that the Maple League is a destination for top players, especially when you have leagues like the ELF, where a lot of players are going over there, finding out it's not what you thought it was, first of all, and then coming back. Well, when they come back, they need to know that they're coming back to something worth playing in. And I think that's exactly what the Maple League is doing this year. And I'm excited to see it. I'm the number one thing I'm excited is to see Curtis Slater back in the Maple League.
Man, boy, you
I like that is the most exciting thing to me.
I've been waiting on that, man. I've been waiting on that, boy.
We'll talk about him when we get to his team, but for now, that's all the updates. Well, we just spent like 40 minutes just updating, but we're gonna see how this goes. It's a live show, so no time limit really, unless I feel like going to sleep or you feel like going to sleep. But I got time. It's Sunday.
Yeah.
So I'm still gonna do the interlude. We're gonna jump to the next one. All right, so now that we've kind of went over the season, kind of got that past the review, let's get into the teams and what we're doing this year a little bit differently. Instead of, talking about each team and going through the ins and outs, because there's so many changes, we are going to keep it simple. We're going to go team by team, put up their roster here on the stream, talk through all the names on the roster, and then talk about what we think that means for them and what that could not mean for them, or what holes they need to fill. We'll just go through it all, and we'll start with the reigning champs, the Helsinki Roosters. Hold on.
Roosters in 3. Roosters in 2.
Let us see your full shirt, Q. Try to show us the full shirt before we do.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
Never home, but always repping.
So to get into the Roosters, I'm gonna try something a little different today. Let's see if this works. Hold up. Is this what I'm doing? No. What we're gonna do is we're gonna put up the roster. Can you see it?
I can't see it on my side yet. Maybe it's my desert internet, but
I'm
I can't
sharing
see it on my side.
Okay. Well, then I guess I'll have to read it then for sure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is a cool little thing we got going on this year. So with the roster, I'm checking the message actually right now too. This is hard to do live. So the roster is updated by like last Monday. I think Monday I like found all the rosters online and put them in little like photos so we could do this. So if it's a little off, it's a little off. That's okay. Just bear with us, guys. And again, Q, if you know something that I don't know, just say it and we'll go from there. But let's talk through the Roosters roster. I guess we can go by position group and then talk about the position group after we talk it. Okay. So let's start with defensive line. They got Krister Berg, Oscar Lettinen, Malik Yardot, Tony Malky, Oko Ottinen, and Arttu Vesterinen. Boy, I am butchering names. I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry.
I think his name is Malik, but you said Malik. I think
I said Malik. It's got to be Malik. I said Malik.
Who's supposed to be the defensive MVP this year? This is
Malik
what I hear.
Down the block. What?
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's what I heard. I ain't gonna say who told me that, but I don't know where I heard it. But I heard he was supposed to be. I don't know if he was trying to say defensive MVP of the team or defensive league MVP. I'm not sure, but I've been hearing that his aspirations of being in the top is there. So
That's interesting. That is
yeah.
very interesting. What are your thoughts on this defensive line group that they got coming up?
Oh man, probably the most experienced. Probably the most
Hmm.
experienced. They're champions too, so they've weathered the storm. They've been in those games, those gritty games. Probably going to come into this season real confident. I mean, Oko's been playing a long time, so Oko's with that energy that he brings, you can just imagine what these young kids um, get every day at practice. They
Yeah.
see a veteran, come in and somebody who goes hard no matter what, a team player, just an all around good guy. Um, his energy will trickle down to those guys. So I expect the Roosters D line to really, really get after the quarterbacks this year. Just from his hunger,
Hmm.
he's a leader, vocal leader too. You know what I'm saying? But he's a leader with his play too. So I think this group, which it probably could change, might add some people. Who knows who shows up the first game? But right now, I think this is probably, I would say probably the best D line right now, experience wise. So
I'm glad you said experience wise because
yeah,
I was gonna throw. I agree with you 100% because just thinking, Christopher Berg, one of the best like interior defensive linemen in Finland last 10 years. I can say decade
yeah,
now. Since I've been here, he's one of the best. Very underrated in terms of like media and stuff, like other people saying it. But
mm,
anybody that plays or watches the Maple League knows like he's top notch. That's why he left when he was in Potsdam, I think, for a year or something like
yeah,
that before coming back.
yeah.
And then um, Malik is not calling. My bad, Malik. Malik from down the block, one of the top young prospects. Probably has some type of scholarship offers in the states right now. Who knows? But he's up there. He'll be the next Edu, right? That's not what
Yeah,
he's supposed
yeah,
to be. He's only like 17, right? So he'll
yeah.
be like the next Edu. And then you got Oko, who is reminiscent of like I'm trying to think of who he reminds me of. I want to say, what's the defensive lineman from the New Orleans Saints guy? Cameron something. What's his name?
Oh,
Is it Cameron Hayward or Hayward Cameron?
nah,
Something like
Cameron
that.
Hayward plays for the Steelers. That's us.
No, not that guy. Then
Cam Johnson. I ain't gonna say
someone.
Johnson, but I know you're
There,
talking about. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, there that guy. Where like he's been good for so long, it's ridiculous, but he's still good. Like that's how I feel
yeah,
about Oko. And when you just name those three, you're like, okay, anyone else they have on the D line has to compete against those three for time. So anybody
yeah,
else they put on there is gonna be worth putting on the field, which means you
yeah,
got one of the top groups, and they're gonna be able to do the things that they normally do. So agreed that it's probably one of the best. I think it's hard to say they might be the best outside of experience based on that. Again, when the games start playing, that's when we really find out who's top
who's
notch,
there?
and then
Yeah.
things are a little bit different. But moving on to the next position group, what do we got? Defensive backs. There's like 20 names on here, so work with me. Uh Timo Oksanen, Oxley Olin, Warfun Prasopson. I can't say. I'm gonna call him W Sweden. You know who he is. Carle Selander, Jaakko Jokinen. Okay, Emily Tuovinen. Why am I even doing this to myself? Tommy Newlund, Oni Alanko, Teemu Ristamaki, and Eero Saarinen. What are your thoughts about that DB group?
Whoo, boy, you just said a lot right there, man. You said a lot right now. I'm just gonna
Whoa.
talk about Olin,
Yeah.
because Olin has been around a long time. I like that the Roosters keep a veteran in each position group, pretty much somewhere
Mhm.
around in each position group, so that they can see the way that a championship team is supposed to practice, and see the way the championship team is supposed to carry themselves. Just throughout the season. Olin has been around for a long time. Um, Very coachable team, team guy. Has been there around, and the younger guys that they have in the secondary are playmakers. They really are. They have a few playmakers. I don't want to butcher their names at all because I'm not even going to try to do that.
Boy, I'm just thinking like I know what I want to say, but I can't say some of these
Yeah,
names.
I don't want to butcher their name at all, but they have a group of guys that are confident. They're unafraid to play against anybody. They're unafraid to play against anybody. So as a group, as a whole, I think the Roosters secondary. That's what you want is depth. You want guys to be able to go in there in different situations that can cover for a few seconds down the field, and I believe they have all of that in that group. And I mean, we'll have to see when the season starts what they're capable of as a group. But when you got that many names in the secondary group, that's a good thing. That's a
Yeah.
good thing. I mean, that means that a lot of people you have to use and to utilize. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think that group they're young. They got fresh legs. You can rotate a lot, and that's always a good thing.
I think that's the biggest thing is like we've we always do this every year where we're like, oh, this is the best group at this position, or this is the best group, who's got the best secondary and all that. And usually it's based on like the talent of the group. And what I can say is again, first episode, we always reminiscing is that just look back at it. The Roosters secondary is always one of the best systems. Does
Yeah.
that make sense? They've they've had their struggles the last couple of years, specifically at the cornerback position, and not because the Roosters don't know how to play their corners or don't know how to play the right coverage or put them in position to succeed, but literally sometimes the other team just has a better player, and there's nothing you can do about that, and that's fine. And what I see at the same group is you're looking at a group that one has been together longer than what we think. A lot of these names 3 years ago, I looked at this group and I was like, who are these kids? Who are these names? And I really want to talk about the young Swede, number 28. I'm going to call you number 28 because you know I can't pronounce your name. My bad, man. I still remember his first year here in Finland. I looked at him, I was like, man, that's a liability out there. And even last year, he was on a lot of guys' highlights, honestly. And that it is what it is. But if anybody had, looked at the All-Star voting that we did, the All Finland voting that we did, and then what coaches said and what we said off air was he was still one of the best corners in the league last year. And now they're bringing him back for year 3. And this young kid is now experienced, savvy. I'm looking for him to have a breakout season. I'm looking for a lot of those highlights that he was on last year to be turned into PBUs, interceptions. Like I legitimately believe he might be the best cornerback in the league this year. And I don't care about American, non-American, whatever. I think he might be the best because he is primed for a breakout season. And with the rosters they have and all these names that we named, he's probably the leader in that group right now. Like he has to be actually. Oxley obviously is the veteran presence, but I don't care what y'all say. Oxley probably just show up on game day and ball out because he do what he doing. He played running back last year, so I mean like he probably just coaches them during the week, show up on Saturday if they need him. Like he just in the uniform, probably wearing that. Don't even bring his helmet till second half if they need him out there. So, but I'm saying like the everyday guy is probably gonna be the young Swede number 28, and I'm really looking forward to see what he does this season. So let's jump into the next group, smaller group, linebackers. But also we got to think about this is that they probably use 5 DBs, so that's why their linebacker group is so small. We got Antti Pokala, Rope Isaranta, Antti Malki, and Tavi Aranpa. I did better on those names. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
you did.
I did
Good.
better. There's some words that I can say. But what do you think about this linebacker group?
Kind of similar to what you said about the DB group. System wise, they're put in position to make plays. and that's what they need. Out of the names that you called, is there one guy who I'm like, he's gonna be the leader of the
Let,
group and make all
let's
the
throw this
plays?
out there real quick.
Oh,
They're probably going to bring in an American, or they've
yeah,
already announced and we just didn't say nothing.
yeah.
We don't know yet,
That's what I say.
right?
There's probably be some changes, updates to the roster, but
Mhm.
system wise, who's ever the middle backer in the Roosters defense usually gets a lot of. He usually set up to make a lot of plays. So if everybody does their job and plays the scheme, they're going to have success no matter who's in there. We know that. So the team is a machine. So you throw in the parts where you need to throw them in at, and you put imports here and put imports there, and then usually you get some success. They start off a little slow sometimes during the season, in the beginning of the season, but they usually get it together towards the end of the season anyway. But not a deep group. So I would expect that they do bring somebody else in to just kind of give them some depth. But that's all we really know about them. I mean, right
Yeah,
now, like this, you know, young guys.
yeah, and I think Aaron Paul was I think he went to New York Lions last year or somebody in the GFL. So him coming back is helpful. Him having that international experience, a really good thing. The Roosters, when their guys leave, they come back. Like they have a very good like track record with players leaving to go to other leagues, but coming back, not just staying gone. Because there's some other teams we're going to talk about where players have left, and I'm like, I hope that player never comes back because they can do better. They can
Yeah,
do better. You don't. But with the Roosters, the organization that players want to come back to. So I think the linebacker group is going to be fine. I don't I don't think it was great last year until they brought in the import. But like we said last year, they were doing really good without having like a true like star at linebacker last year. And then when they brought him in, it was like, oh crap, they might be the best team
yeah,
in the league now. I
yeah.
think
He
I
really
think
amped them up. Yeah,
yeah, I think they could repeat that. Like you have such a good team that position doesn't have to be, great, just has to be good enough. And last year they did okay with a lot of older guys playing, and then this year
mm-hmm.
with a young group, they probably will be able to, ramp it up a little bit and still be competitive. So moving to the next group, I guess we'll go offense now, right? Do we do all the defense? Yeah.
Yeah.
Offense. Let's go offensive line. I'm not gonna be able to pronounce all this, but let's go. Jerome Hamilton. That sounds American. Victor
Mm-hmm.
Axloff. Otto Hatayar. Iro Metsaniemi. Akusti Saarinen. Titus Tervanen. Romeo Toimo. Miko Toimanen. Aki Aho. Henry Vatanen. I gave it a shot.
Look,
I gave it a shot.
we gonna we gonna just say the O line.
Woo!
Yeah, this is funny. That's
I
funny.
would give it to him.
That's funny.
What
But
are your
Kali,
thoughts about that?
I think they'll have a pretty decent. Miko is Miko. Did you call Miko name?
Yeah,
I thought I
Miko
seen.
Toivonen. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
So
playing center again.
yeah. Miko back at center, man. They'll be solid. They'll be
Mm.
solid. Um, it's hard for me to talk about the Roosters like as in like because I know like they're gonna compete. Like their O line's gonna compete. We've seen them have some tough games where they didn't stand up against pressure that well last year. But I do think they probably have fixed that problem and or at least put in some guys that they feel like can help them out on the line. So um, I think they're gonna be pretty good, a pretty good group.
I want to look back. I'm gonna look at the roster one more time because what I want to say, I can't remember their names, but I feel like if I say the wrong name, that just ain't worth it. So I won't say the wrong name, but they had a couple of kids playing last year. They had
Yeah,
some kids out there when the first like half of the season and the Roosters were still like in good standing. We just kept saying, how are they doing this with
yeah,
they don't have enough linemen, they don't have a great linebacker group, but they're still winning. And everybody's injured and they're still winning. And these kids played in the Maple League last year, played U17, U19. I think one of them played U15. Like, they played football this last year, and now they're a little more experienced and they've been in a good system with the Roosters organization. A lot of times when teams have young players playing, I'm the first one to say, like, it's not good for their development because they're just getting their ass beat. They're just losing over and over and not getting better. That's not the case with these linemen. These linemen, even last year, there was times where they were maybe losing or maybe they weren't losing, but you could always see progression. And now those same linemen are coming back as young teenagers, but still, teenagers standing at 6 foot, 250, 260. Like, it's a difference. So they're a little on the lean side because they're young, but a lot of them have the experience from last year. And now their off season probably has been, how can we get better? How can we do better next year? Because now you're here. So that is something really good to look at about them. Before we move on, this is the part of the show where I said that we're going to bring in people. We have the Roosters offensive coordinator, Kale Karppinen, coming in to talk to us, and we'll just talk to Kale and ask him a couple questions if we can. Let's hop into this.
Hello.
Kale, welcome to the show, man.
How you doing? Good to be here. You hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you great.
Like your shirt, Q.
Hey, thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah, so Kale, we're not gonna take up a lot of your time. I know it's Mother's Day, people have things to do, but we've been on the podcast for like an hour, and this is perfect timing. We were just about to talk about the Roosters offense. And you're taking over this year as the offensive coordinator. In the past and historically, you're defensive coordinator. We know that. Other people might not know that. But you're a great defensive coordinator, which means you know enough about the offense to coach the offensive side. First question I have for you is, what's the reason for coming back this year at this role for the Roosters?
A couple of things. Just for myself, it's something a little bit new. I dabbled around with offense last year, helping Daniel with what we were doing on offense, and it was kind of fun. And then things coming together when we were just looking at how to build the coaching staff last fall and kind of what we had available, and it seemed to be easier to find a new defensive coordinator than an offensive coordinator for us. So I just thought it would be interesting experience to do offense kind of full time.
That makes sense. Like, you said it when you say like it's easier to find a defensive coordinator. It makes perfect sense because you guys are probably running a lot of the same stuff that you did last year with Daniel. Now that you're calling the plays, Q, did you have something you wanted to ask Kale before I go on?
Yeah, Kale, you've been around for a long time, man. You've been around for a long time. What's in you that brings you back so many seasons with this team? What is it about this organization that you just can't stay away from? I mean, what excites you about coming back season after season?
He's my team. No, I love what I'm doing. It's always been my team, so why go somewhere else? And I think it's so great to see how things develop year after year. We've had I've been part of the organization for like 35 years, and but even during the last 10, 15 years as a kind of a Maple League coach, we've had so many different people come through the organization as players, as coaches. Mostly we've kept winning, so we've been able to kind of keep rolling that culture forward. There's always transition year here and there, and new kids coming up. Some years you're more in a rebuilding mode. Some year you're just rolling from what you had last year. But I think it's so great to see young kids come up. First, you see them in a role where they're not really Maple League players yet, but they're hanging around with our team. And then maybe next year they're big contributors, and then the second year they're like national team players. So I think it's great to see that kind of maintaining that culture of winning and performance.
All right.
Good answer. Good answer. I expected him to say that. I really did. I mean, your name has been ringing in this organization, in this league, ever since I came to Finland, and I definitely just want to give you your flowers, because, like you said, you've been a part of a lot of teams. You've been a part of a lot of development with players on the Roosters, guys that left the Roosters. You've been a part of their coaching history, their journey. And it's hard sometimes to find people who are that committed to want to see players become better, men become better, female players, whatever it is. It's hard to find people to be that committed to this sport. So I just want to give you your flowers while you're here right now. I definitely salute you for that. When I came to Finland, I fell in love with the culture. I fell in love with the football. So I can just understand what that feeling is to see guys that you seen when they were 8 and 9 years old become now 20-year-olds and 21-year-olds, and now they're national team players. But when you first seen them, they couldn't make tackles, and now they're like the best. They're like the best of the best now. So I know it feels good to see like the coaching works and the skill and seeing the guys buy into what you're trying to show. So I definitely want to salute you for that.
Thanks. Sounds good.
Yeah. So again, we're not going to hold you long. Just one more thing. Just want to ask you, because we wasted our 2 questions on why you're even here. But let's talk about this year, 2025. A lot of changes, like we said before, coaching staff changes, personnel changes even. Tell us a little bit, give us a little bit of insight, if you can, about what we can expect from the Roosters offense this year going into the season.
Let's see. I think there's a lot of things we continue to do what we did last year, but we also have a lot of new things added. We're going to be more multiple, more flexible, more adaptive. We're going to be different week from week, depending on who we're playing, who we have healthy on a certain week. So I think we have a lot of things we can do in our offense that we can kind of pick from on a weekly basis. So I expect good things. I think there's a good mix of continuity in what we did last year, and then adding new things into the mix and being able to adapt to what we can get from a certain defense on a certain week schematically. Yeah.
Okay, Kale, you did a great job of telling us something without telling us anything. Thank you. We appreciate that.
You'll see on the 7th of June, the first version of it.
Yeah, don't get it
like
twisted.
Always, it's a work in It's like always, it's a work in progress. You go to the game 1 with a plan, and then once you get to July, August, you start to see this is what we need to win this year, and then you start to move into that direction, and then August, September, you might be in a different place than you started from, but you got to have the tools to get there.
See, if you're watching, or listening, this is how you know that a man knows what he's doing. The way that he answered the question without telling us anything specific, and then he continued to explain of what's going to happen through the season without telling us anything specific, just let you know he knows what he's doing. And Kale, again, it's always good to talk to you, man. We're excited to see you guys this year, and we appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Definitely.
Thank you.
All right, man. Take it easy. All right. I think we're there. Yeah. And that's how we do the interviews. Did it work? Let me kick him out. Oh, yeah, he's gone now. Yeah, so that's the interview. That was interesting. He gave us such a good finish answer. Not a finish answer.
Man. That's a smart finish man right there.
Yeah, I don't want to be too like stereotypical. Be like, oh, he gave us a finish answer.
That's
if you're watching and listening, he was very finished about it, but he he made sure to say just the right stuff where I'm interested. Cause I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But he also didn't tell me nothing, which is very good.
But you know what? the interesting thing is a lot of defensive coaches, when they do coach offense, sometimes it's easier for them because they know what can beat defenses.
Of
So it's like
course.
it actually might be pretty easy for him to make that transition. He's obviously going to take a lot of chances if he sees one-on-ones, if he sees certain players that he don't feel like can handle themselves. So it'll be interesting to see what, but I like how he said, like, obviously, after a certain amount of games, you kind of pivot from what you thought was going to work to something else,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go to zone read and RPO. Like, we know that for sure. RPO is going to be there. So, but
Yeah,
nah,
that's what's so interesting about it, because that's why I really wanted to separate the whole like part where I said finish answer, because in all honesty, the finish answer would have been, we're gonna do this and that's what we're gonna do.
straight up,
Like,
yeah.
and we ain't changing
RPO,
nothing.
baby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we ain't changing nothing about it, and we're gonna live or die like this way. Like how the Royals are like, hey, it don't matter what's happening. Alpha
We running the
Jallo or
ball.
bust. It's
Yeah.
Alpha Jallo or bust. Like, that's
Yeah.
finished right there, But Calais is a really smart guy, and he said just exactly what I needed to hear. Because that lets you know that he has something cooking, he has a plan, and he's confident in his plan. And that gives me nothing but excitement about what the Roosters are going to be able to do. So let's hop into the next group for the Roosters before we move on, which is taking way too long. We already talked about the O line.
Might do part 2 on this one.
Yeah, we got to do a part 2 because this ain't gonna work out. So quarterbacks. Let's just go all skill positions. I ain't gonna go each one because that's gonna take too long. Your quarterbacks are Ambro Erhansen, Jerry Silama, and Jan. I can't say your last name. Hietakunas. And then your running backs are Lassi Pajanen, Lenny Rantalainen, and Maxim Karala. And at receiver, they have Bryce Nunnally, Renee Rautanen, Santu Vekamaki, Linus Salston, Tarmo Pitkanen, Arturi Takapa, and Andreo Solovian. And then their kicker is Ansi Ruhoinen. Just give me your thoughts on the offensive skill and firepower. What are you thinking about this group?
We know what Bryce Nunley can do. We know what he brings to the table. He's going to be a handful to deal with. Santu Vahamaki, my number one finish receiver. I mean, I'm going with him every time. Give him a jump ball, he wins every time. So I'm just hoping that he stays healthy throughout the season. But Ambro, another year. He just got a ship. You know what I mean? He's QB1. Confidence is probably on high, and he's a real chill, more laid back type of dude, though, with a little bit of confidence, a little bit of like confidence too. But I'm sure he feels real good coming back into this season. A lot of people, want to beat him. We were real hard on him. We were real hard on him a lot, and it's in Corpio. We was on him, but I like to see. I like what he did. I like what he came. He didn't do. He didn't try to do too much. He didn't do too little. He did enough. He made enough plays when the team needed him to make them, and they got him a championship. And Ambrose is growing right. He grew up right in front of us from a little kid to now. So to see him as the premier player for the Roosters is good. So I think they'll light the scoreboard up. I'm gonna just say that. With all Lassie partnering, he's a good running back, just like his brother was or is. So they're gonna be pretty good on the offensive side of the ball. Let's just say that.
I agree. I think this is a good group. I again, I'm a reminisce. I think this is a good time for us to take a hiatus because they're making me feel old. Like, I mean, just think about it. I mean, when you talk about Ambro, you talk about Lossie, you talk about Santu. I mean, when I look and think of those three players, I think of 16, 17-year-old kids. And like, it's hard to like wrap my head around that these are now young men and this is the league. They are coming of age. And to throw out another name, Renee Rautanen, he had a huge breakout season last year.
Mm-hmm.
And him coming on, changing teams and joining the Roosters, as well as, again, the names I'm going to name, Arthur Takapa. Kids, he's a beast. And you have another guy, a little bit older but still consistent, is Pitkanen. I can't remember his first name. Is it Tarmo? Or let me look back at the roster thing real quick. See, Tarmo Pitkanen.
Yeah.
Those are great Finnish receivers. I think it might be too early to say, but best receiving group in Finland, like best receiving group. Like obviously the next team we talk about is going to try to refute that. But if I'm sticking to like Finnish talent, I think this is one of the top groups, especially with the departure of the brothers from up north. We'll talk about them another day. But this group of receivers and skill players is really good. They've also played together. This is the Roosters junior team from a couple of years ago. So they should have that like connection. And you saw like when Takapar came back last year, like the first game he came back, Ambro just kept going to him. Wasn't always successful, but you could tell like he trusted that receiver. And something like that is going to translate this season when they go full all in on having these Finnish guys be their like highlight receivers outside of Bryce Nunnally. And Bryce is going to do his thing as expected. That's why I'm not talking a lot about him. We'll talk about him all season when he scores 2 and 3 times a game. But for right now, this is a very interesting offensive package that is, again, very strong with Finnish players and not as many European imports as some of the other teams will have. But for them, that's going to provide talent and chemistry. And their chemistry is going to be off the chart offensively. I mean, I don't think it's unfair to say, at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 50 burgers from the Roosters this year. Like I expect it. It.
Yeah.
And because they have the talent to do it, they have the depth to do it, and I think that this is a team that's going to put up points this year. So, final thoughts on the Helsinki Roosters before we move on to one more team.
I know, right?
I don't know.
No final thoughts, man. We know what the Roosters are probably going to bring to the table. So let's just see, what happens.
All right. So I'm going to still do this. Yeah, it was quicker than you thought. It was only 5 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, well, I got to get my screen back up. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay.
What I was going to say was that, so I think also we went over the Roosters a lot, but they are the, reigning champions, so they should get that, you get that kind of respect when you're the champions.
So highlight names on the next ones.
Yeah, like we can do it much different on the next one. We figured that out. So next team will be the second place team. And actually this could be faster because there's less players on the roster. So it's much easier to do. So with this one, I got the wrong one. Yeah, this is the one. We have the Seinäjoki Crocodiles. Now, I can't read this because the
font, the way it was.
Yeah, like it's in like green or something. Again, I just took these off the internet, so I could be wrong. Like these rosters could be outdated. Some of them haven't been updated since like January. But let me and this is just alphabetically too. So just listen to the names. There's only like 20 names on this roster, just so you know. We have wide receiver Alexi Parnanen, defensive end Charles Akano, defensive back Panu Hutu, D-line kicker Etu Makimanis, wide receiver Jaakko Kasari, number 8. Defensive back Oxley Siriainen, number 20. I think that's the guy that used to play for UNC last year. just so in case you didn't know. Number 22, Julius Tuominiemi. Number 20, wide receiver, number 22. Number 25, defensive back, William E. Koskela. Number 32, linebacker, Rope Takama. Number 33, defensive end, Yuha Luri. Number 44, defensive back, Atu Tuoko. Number 46, linebacker, Elias Haino. Number 47, linebacker, Tuomas Yarvenpaw. Number 51, defensive end, William E. Vitasati. Number 55, offensive lineman, Artu Sarakowski. Number 66, offensive lineman, Miguel Makinen. Number 68, offensive lineman, Atu Kolini. Yeah, I think so. Number 77, offensive lineman, Levi Coco. Number 82, wide receiver, kicker, Senti Corpi. Number 87, defensive end, Samuel Lappinen. Number 89, defensive back, wide receiver, Yuho Kasari. Number 94, wide receiver, Artu Hekila. All right, so I'm just gonna say this. First off, I tried. Like I don't speak a lot of Finnish, but every once in a while I pull it out, and I pronounce those decently enough, considering I hadn't seen them before today. Secondly, this roster don't mean nothing because this can't be the roster. There's not enough names, not enough people. So obviously we can't go into depth, but this is kind of what I said at the beginning, is that this is the season it is. Most of their players from last year are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hold up. And I didn't even say Seydou Diallo on this roster, right?
Nah.
He's a linebacker. He played running back last year, originally a linebacker for them. And I've seen him on all their Instagram posts and them practicing and stuff. So, like, the roster just isn't – it's not definitive of what they – yeah, it's not definitive of what they have. And, again, I'm not going to do nearly the extra work that it would take for me to get all that information. So what are your thoughts on what will or won't be the roster based off of what they – I guess we got to go off of what they lost or what they have to bring this year. What are you thinking?
I mean, being their quarterback and – no, their quarterback, their
running back, the receiver.
Their receiver, everybody.
And their two Finnish receivers.
Yeah, everybody.
This was the team – last year I said they had the best receiving core in the country.
Yeah.
All the receivers are gone.
Yeah. It's going to be real interesting to see what the Crocs do. Is it going to be a rebuilding year? They've competed over the years. They've definitely competed the last few years. So this is probably a regroup in developmental year, I'm going to say. I'm sure they figured out that it's possible to get there. But maybe you have to catch it when it's your top player's prime. And I'm not saying that Christian Powell is not in his prime, but they've been close so many times with him that I think that maybe now it was time for that change, to see what else they can probably try to build up, or they just probably exhausted all benefits that they had to try to make it happen. So we'll see what they come up with when the season starts. But if they're not careful, and if they don't take it serious, then hey, they might be towards the end of the line at the end of the season. So
yeah,
but none of those names you like. But to go off the rosters that you named, I don't know a lot of those guys' names like that to say that they still have the core guys in there. It wasn't a lot of names, so I'm sure that's probably not the updated roster or the roster that they're going to start the season with, but we'll see.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't think it's going to be too far off. Honestly, I think that for the first time since I've been here, I don't know about way back when or whatever, but this might be the 1 year that the Crocodiles don't make the playoffs. Like, it's crazy to say that, but this might be it. I think there's too much change. I think your coaching staff changes. That's crazy. Like, that's always tough. Your most dependable players, your top players, change. And not in the way of, well, we have this system and we're changing. No, everything is going to be different. The offense should be different. The defense should be different because both coaches are different. So that means the players on the field, you want something consistent from last year to carry over so that they can learn as a group and have chemistry. That's not the case. Your offensive line is different. Your defensive line is different. You brought back Akanu, and that's great, but that doesn't build chemistry in your offensive line. Not to mention he's probably not there in the offseason. And then your linebacking core is different. They probably put Sadu back on defense instead of having their running back. I don't know. But your core positions, your import positions, they're going to be different, and that's fine. But now you have to figure out how to get them to be gelling together and work in the season. As we said earlier, now you're in these divisions. You're in a tough division, Crocodiles. You're going to be doing a lot of traveling, which means your schedule is not going to be that consistent because those away games messes up your schedule bad when you're going from Sinayoki to somewhere. It's different if you're going, 2-3 hours, but Sinayoki, except for going to Vasa, you always looking at 4+ hours. So every time you take an away game, that's an excursion and an adventure, and that's got to be built in. And how your team responds to that is going to be very hard to predict or even manage because you don't know. You just don't know. You don't know how these players are going to respond. You don't know how the coaches are going to respond. You don't know how the imports are going to respond. There's way too many variables. And normally, I don't think that's a horrible thing for a good organization. Like, I believe the Crocodiles are a good organization, but this is not the year. Of all years to do this, this is not the year to do it because they're like, it could get bad fast. And I think it was a great move for someone like Christian Powell to jump up out of there. But for Crocodiles, this is the year that you would have been like, hey, we'll give him whatever he wants because we need one consistent somewhere. And they don't have that. There's way too many variables. And of course, week one, we could be wrong and they could just be a great team and just gel perfectly. But as of right now, there's just not a lot I like about them. And that's tough because I always like banking on the fact that they're like a playoff team. I feel like this might be the one year where I don't have them in the playoffs in my preseason rankings, which is crazy. So moving on to the second team, I'm still going to do the interlude because it's habit now. So. I'm going to do it again. I think what I'll do after this show is we'll get a longer interlude so we can get like a good
some water.
Yeah, a 20, 30-second break. I left my water over there. I'm over here just talking. Also, really interesting is that people are actually watching this live. I was expecting nobody to watch. Like I expected us to have
Sunday. It's Sunday, baby.
And it's a holiday. I expected no viewers. I expected this to just be us sitting here talking and then just upload it later.
Like, I'm glad y'all checking, y'all tuning in, baby.
Yeah, we appreciate it. It feels good to be loved, So I guess now let's move on to the Butchers. I want to go defense first for the Butchers. I'm going to read the roster. I don't think I can. Look how close my face is to the screen trying to read this. This is what you're going to see. You're going to see this LA. Oh, man. So defensive line, we got Julius Asavada and his brother, Jonathan Asavada. And then we got Jesse Vuoksintura. Then we got Samuel Kimu, Jonas Piranen, Noah Netti, Risto Ilamaki, Julius Vuoksintura. Little, I think that's his, are they related? I'm not sure. I know he has a son, but I don't think Julius is his son. Oh, anyways, and Roni Pananen. Oh, last one. Atro Heinonen. That's the D line.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on D line, real quick? I think we can do D line quickly and move it on.
Is Jesse 44? Is Jesse number 44 or 55? Which one is?
Yeah, he's 55. Jesse is 55.
55. Yeah, okay, yeah. I
Yeah.
like his energy. He's a standout to me. Definitely been around a few young few years now, but I like Jesse a lot, man. A lot of energy. I'm sure Rojo is gonna have their defense intact. I'm gonna just say that. I'm sure the D line won't have to do much. I'm not saying that they don't have to do anything, but get after the ball. Don't give up any, big runs. Try not to give up any big runs anyway. The offense is going to be so powerful, probably, that you're going to expect to give up something, but just don't give up a lot. So that's what I'm expecting from the Butchers D line.
Yeah, I'm not gonna speak on it too much. I don't really care. I think they're gonna be as good as Jesse is. I think like you said, he's kind of the mainstay there, but also I think they have a good defensive line. Like I like this defensive line. Noah Nettie, Ronnie Painen, Acho Heinonen. I don't know if I remember him being there last year as being like a guy, but I know he's a really good DN. I like him on the defensive line. Julius Vuxentoda also solid, and then you have the Osavada brothers, young kids, switched them from offense to defense. They did great last year, but as a group, it's deep. Like they're very deep. Am I not showing myself on this? Sorry, I forgot to press these buttons. But they're very deep, and when you're deep like that, it means you can stay fresh. As long as you can stay fresh, you can compete. As long as you can compete, they got a chance. I'm not concerned with their D line like being any hindrance, but I also don't think that it's like a great group. I don't think you have a team that can say, "Oh, our D line will get after it and not blitz. We don't need to blitz." Like you're not gonna be able to say that. They're going to need a little bit of help. They're good, but also you got a D line that won't get pushed around. So you're not going to be able to say, "Oh, we're just going to run the ball." No, that's not going to happen against this group. But also, if you decide that, hey, we're going to drop back and pass it consistently, they will need a little bit of help from the linebackers, secondary, and stuff like that. Which brings me to the second group. I'm just going to do the whole back end of it now. Linebackers, we're looking at Jalen Todd. That's your American. Uko Pakinen. Should I tell you their numbers so you maybe know who they are? I know these names are tough. Number 13.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, you're good with names? Okay. Uko Pakinen. You got Caspian Kusamanen, Yane Lahikainen, number 49, because that's new to me. And then UC Makala at linebackers. And then your defensive backs, Zach Wright, Jose P. I'm not going to mess that up. Juuso Hallinen, Vinny Koskelainen, Nicholas von Ossenfeld. That's a new name. Jere Podinen. And then also on the side here, your boy Curtis Slater. So with that group, at defensive back end, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm gonna say this right here: Slater and Zach Wright on the same team is unfair. That's gonna be unfair. They will be able to do a lot of blitzing. The safeties obviously will blitz from anywhere. Zach Wright, we know what he can do. We know what Slater can do. Slater is on. He didn't. This isn't Slater words, but me knowing Slater, this is a revenge tour. This is going to be a revenge tour, and I expect nothing but maybe interceptions, hits, everything that comes along with having those type of safeties, those hybrid safeties that can make tackles, that can get interceptions, that can pretty much guard anybody one-on-one. They're going to make up for a lot of stuff that they lack up front. And being that it's a majority passing league, they are going to win the Butchers a lot of games. They're going to make a lot of plays happen on that back end. So just from those two names on that group, yes, they do have a lot of local guys that can make plays too. But as a whole, that play that Slater and Zach Wright are used to playing at, it's going to affect the rest of the guys on the defense. And do they still have? What number was? No, I don't think they still got him. Never mind. I won't say that, but I just think the Butchers defense as a whole, will it be a dominating defense? I don't know yet. but I do know from the roster that they have, they can play a lot of different schemes and they can play a lot of different sets, and that's what you want.
I think that it. Well, I don't want to jump the gun and say it will be because that'd be stupid of me. But I think it might be a dominating defense. I think that even though, like, I mean, I said it earlier that the D line it's not great, but it is a solid group and it's dependable. Like, there's things they're going to be able to do because they know that they can do this or stop that. And then, like you said, having those two guys in the back, I think the biggest like game changer for them is that those two guys it's twofold. One, two of the smartest defensive backs I've ever watched play. Like they don't just make play, like they coach the defense. Imagine that if Zach is coaching part of the defense back there, and on the other side, Curtis is coaching another part. Like having like on the field, like guys with that type of experience, that type of leadership, it changes how fast you're able to adjust, things you're able to do in game. You don't have to call a timeout. You don't have to wait until the offense is on the field to make your adjustments. Like there's adjustments that those guys are going to be able to make in real time to save the coach's time, which is going to help that defense be, I think, more dominant than anything. I think they're going to adjust so much quicker. But secondly, both of those guys score points. Like,
oh yeah,
there's something to be said about a defensive back who not only can play his position, but can create turnovers, score points. Like the argument going on in the NFL about what's the defensive back that think that he's better than Deion Sanders, that guy's name. I don't know why I can't remember everybody's name today.
Oh, Asante Samuel.
Yeah, Asante Samuel. Like you look at the stats, even like interceptions and even like broken up play. Yeah, he's up there. He got numbers. Like, yeah, I'm the one. But when you look back at it, what Prime did that most people didn't do was if he touched the ball, he's getting you 6. That's a 14-point swing. Taking away 6 and then giving your team 6 with one move. And that's reminiscent of when the Butchers won their championship 2 years ago. They had games where they should not have been in it. And I'm still going to take it back to I'm never going to forget when the Roosters were up. What was it, 21-7 or something like that? They were up by a lot. And this man, Zach Wright, ended up with like 2 pick sixes or something, or some interceptions that changed the whole game. Like, and that was his whole thing that whole year was their defense was bad, but he was so good that when he made plays, it changed the entire game.
Plays. Yeah.
And then not to double down on that, but that's what the Butchers are doing. Curtis Slater, the only person I know that if you need an interception, he gonna go get it. You need a fumble, he gonna fill the gap. Like the dude can play from one side of the field to the other in 2 seconds, and he does whatever you need. You need a punt return. Both of them are returners. I don't know.
That's what I was just about to say. That's what I was going to say. They can keep their defense. They can keep their defense on the field on third and long, on fourth down. They can keep their defense on the field.
The craziest part is how are you gonna you got to pick who you want to be the returner out of those two. You always gonna feel like, well, maybe I should have went with him. Maybe I should have went with him. But either way, they both can do it. They're both gonna get you points, and that is scary. I think that combination makes them dominant. And just to throw this out here before we get on it, if Slater is, EU status, like, don't forget that man will play receiver. I'm pretty sure he won all Finland award at receiver one year. So like it's unfair to have these two together on the same team, but also it means for the Butchers, they have a luxury to, kind of dictate how they want to do things. They can force the offense to do what they want to do instead of having to rely on what the offense is going to do. Because the offense is going to go into the game saying, okay, Slater is here, Zach is here. What are our options? I don't think anybody in the Maple League is going to go into a game against the Butchers and say, we're going to do what we want to do.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because just knowing football, no offense goes into the game saying, okay, we're going to do something based on what the defense is going to get. Like, you have a plan of this is what we want to do offensively. If they give us this look, this will you go into this game saying, what can we get away with against this defense? That's how you plan it, not the other way around. Not what do we like to do now? How does the defense affect us? You go into this game saying, what does that defense do? What can we do to be successful? Which is a backwards way to do offense. And I think that's what they really bring to the table this year is that I think for the first time in a long time, the Butchers defense will be dominant. And that's hard to say because they've not been dominant like ever since I've been in Finland. But moving on to the offense, I think I have this up here too. No, I guess I don't. There we go. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna find it on my actual laptop so I can see it. I can't see nothing on this screen. It was a good idea. But offensively, your quarterback, last minute change. It is going to be Christian R&B. Your running back is going to be Christian Powell, Alexi Hervinen, Michael Fiscotti, and Hugo Vahakiopoulos. That's hard to say. At receiver, they're going to have Mickey J, Fung Nguyen, Lucas Erola, Miko Sepinen, Amyad Arubaye, Zacharias Carbon, Nico Kontanen, and tight end is going to be Oscar Montemaki. Offensive line, let's see. We got Tomi Pirkala, Emil Vinto, Jari Mononen, Sali Pustinen, Lari Tihula, Joe Siskanen, Sakari Siltakorpi, and Oskari Vatu. What are your initial thoughts on that offensive group? What do you think is going to work for them this year?
He got some dogs on that roster. Offensive roster, boy. That's some dogs over there.
Oh, yeah, and I forgot. At receiver, Nate Robitaille. The American. I forgot. I didn't even say his name. I forgot his name.
Hey, you know when they announced all that stuff around April Fools, I was like, is this for real?
Hey, I swear I didn't think that was real when I saw that both of their names went up there at the same time. Like, there's no way that's real.
If they got Robitaille, man, I'm gonna just say this. Good luck for the opposing defenses. If they got Robitaille, they got Mickey, Lucas Ariella, like that's gonna be a lot to deal with for any defense. And Christian Powell in the backfield. Both Christians can run the ball. both Christians can run the ball. So that offense is going to be a lot to deal with, man. So it's going to take a lot. I think Rob will do a good job of spreading the ball around and making sure that everybody touches it, and he won't need those guys on defense to really play offense with that roster. But the roster is lit right now on paper, so it'll be interesting to see what's the main. Obviously, Christian Powell will be, the premier guy, I think. But once he gets going, then it's going to be hell to deal with. So the Butchers are looking real, like probably the best offense on paper right now and on the field. If you ask me, if the O line is even decent, their offense is going to be on fire.
And I think I'm trying to check this out because I didn't mention them, but they have an American, I want to say O lineman, Juan Paul Flores. Yeah.
Hey.
So they brought in an American O lineman as well.
Well,
one more
to deal with.
Yeah. That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah.
Like
I wouldn't even want to have the game plan against that offense. I wouldn't want to do that. It'll definitely be a challenge unless you got the players or D line to do it. But Christian Powell is a lot himself. He's a lot himself, man. And then you can't bring your safeties down because you got Robitaille, he can play outside, inside. So he's a mismatch anyway. Robitaille, he could probably be like player of the year type. You know what I'm saying? So, like you got Christian Powell and Robitaille again on the same team. Like, so it's my goodness, it's a lot of deal.
Don't forget about the young kid. He got hurt, but he's back. Lucas Erola.
Lucas, yeah, if I say Lucas there too, man, it's gonna be a
You
lot.
can't. I mean, that's a lot to like. Now, I could say this receiving core rivals the Roosters receiving core for sure. The only difference I would say is like it's harder to say that this one is like, well, this one is more experienced. You
Yeah,
got to look at
yeah.
that when you look at Miko, Mickey J, Nate Robitaille, they're seasoned vets. Erla still young star. That can work great for you when you have a quarterback like Christian, and then you have a running back like Christian as well. I think they're gonna have issues on offense.
What do you
I
like?
think
What
they're
do you
gonna have
do? What do you do? What do you do? He got trips. And I'm just throwing this out there. They got trips. They got Robitaille, Mickey, Lucas Erla on one side, and then you got Christian Powell on the left side. Like, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, he's in the backfield with Christian Aaron B. Day. Like, it's gonna be a nightmare to match up against this offense.
I think it's going to be a situation. I think, well, okay, let's say like, I mean, got to call a spade a spade. The butchers are the butchers. Uh, we won't go as far as to say, they got a star on their helmet. Like, we can move past that. But they're, I do feel like they're a team that has a little bit of we have to do things this type of way because we're the butchers sometimes. Does that make
Mm,
sense?
mm.
Like even last year, when you had Mickey J at running back, I said it time and time again, and I still stand on business, 10 toes down about this. Mickey J is easily one of the best running backs in Finland. He does things that you just can't do. And last year, if their offense would have centered around him, they would have been more successful because he gives you like the toughness of a running back, but also the agility, the elusiveness, and he can make a big play out of nothing, both from running the ball and catching the ball. Yet, time and time again, they continually try to get in the young buck, Alexei Hervinen, that's fine. But the thing is, that's not always what's best for your team, even though you're trying to develop the young man. And I still think you're still putting your team in that situation this year. I think it's one of those situations where, from what I've been told, obviously Christian Powell is probably mentoring the young man as a running back and teaching them, hey, how to do things, and they're going to split time. But think about when, I don't know, yeah, you remember this time, back when Jay Tay and Kari were in with the Roosters, and what happened was they balanced it, but at the same time, when it came down to it, and in the Maple Bowl, Jay Tay was that guy, they gave it to him and did their thing. But also, everyone knew that if they were able to balance it, that meant Jay Tay had to go at some point. Like you let you know that, hey,
Yeah, Carr was the future. Yeah, Carr is
we're letting we know. And I feel like that's
Yeah.
what the Butchers are trying to do. And I have issue with it because it's 2025. My issue with it is you're delaying the young running back, they're delaying his greatness. He can't be on the field at the same time when you have all these players that are technically better than him right now. He would be a great slot receiver if he learned how to play it, but there's no way you're going to put him in over Mickey or Miko. And he's not going to get any experience watching them from the side. But you're going to have him backing up the running back, which is even less opportunities to get on the field. And you're delaying how good this kid can be. And word on the street, we talked about it last year. Who's faster, him or Lucas Erlo? We don't know. But Lucas out there running routes every Saturday. That's for sure. I can't say the same about Alexei because there's always going to be some American playing running back, or even last year you had a Finnish guy playing running back ahead of him, delaying what he could be. And when you do that, it ruins the chemistry of the team. Like, I feel like they could either change his position or move on and just let him be the guy, and that would make things easier because you only have one ball. And we just named all these players. There's only one ball. Who gets the ball? And I think that's where they're going to have trouble. Is there's going to be games where they don't give the ball to the right person, or they don't feed the hot hand, and there's no way you can like not have that situation. You got way too much talent, and you don't. There's no way to know that this is the play that Alexi needs to come in, or this might be the exact play that you need Miko stepping in to make the play. It's really hard to figure out in the moment during the game as it progresses. And what happens is you get in a situation where you don't give it to the right guy, and then your offense doesn't look as good as it should. And I say all that, but I also want to retract it all and say, if Rojo's the offensive coordinator,
he's going to make it happen.
He's going to make it happen. I'm just playing devil's advocate to play devil's advocate. I just throw that out there so people have something to think about.
The Butchers will be in the playoffs. The Butchers will be in the playoffs. You can guarantee that.
For sure. Yeah, I think we're gonna end it there because we got like 10 more minutes, and what do we get? We got 2 teams.
Yeah, we gotta do part 2. We gotta do part 2.
2 teams. Yeah, we definitely gotta do a part 2. And when we get to part 2, we'll get that all going. I'm still gonna do the interlude. All right. That's it for the first episode of the Victory Lap season for American football in Finland. Q, any last words you want to say before we get out of here and do part 2?
Let's get ready for the season, man. Like you said, we got a few more teams to talk about. Shout out to all the people that did tune in today. On your Sunday, give us a look. I'm excited. I'm excited for the season, man. I'm excited to see what these guys do. A lot of these guys are my friends. A lot of these guys I watched grow up, and I have so much, respect for and won championships with. It's amazing, man, to see a lot of these guys still playing. It's amazing to see the younger guys coming up and putting on for the country, man, and I'm just excited to see what everybody will do. And yeah, that's about it for me, man. That's about it. And always, shout out to Nana. Shout out to Ellie. And it's Ellie. Ain't Ellie the other one? Ellie. Can you hear me?
What names are you trying to throw?
To the Kansas City.
Okay.
Shout out to the women.
Shout out to you're shouting out to Nana Olavuo, Ida. I don't know her last name.
I can't never say
Sweden.
her name,
I can't never get her last name. And then you're also
There's a few of the girls out
Tia Johnson. I never say their names. No offense, sorry, but there's 3 girls out there representing Finland for the Kansas City Glory. Good luck to them as always. Yeah, for sure. On my end, last words. This was fun. This live thing. I think this will be fun to do because now we're done. Like there won't be any like edits, or we might have some clips. I don't know if this app makes clips. We'll have clips. We're not gonna go too much into it. But with this being, the victory lap, I just want to make sure people know that we're all in. We're gonna be out here every week. We're gonna talk about it. But also, like what Q said, this is going to be a fun season. I think we're going to see a lot of people doing things that we haven't seen before. We're going to have fresh takes on it pretty much every week, which is going to be really fun to do. And with so much change, we're all kind of in the same boat this year. Everybody's kind of watching, going to be wanting to see what happens and have an opinion on it. And with the podcast this year, I think what we really want to do is, have you guys be more involved. We'll do this every week. This is the first episode, but during the season, hopefully, if you got something good to say and you hit the DM and we like it, we might be like, hey, bring it in. Like that's how we're gonna run the show this year. I think it'll be fun. Sunday nights are pretty good for me. Hope it's good for everybody else. So we should be good to go with that. What's my last thing? Oh, before we do this, we'll do it on the fly as we always do. Going into the season, we're gonna do a part 2 next week, which we hadn't planned, but we'll fix that. We'll do a part 2 finish the teams. Hopefully, get into like, I think, are we supposed to do predictions next week? No, we do predictions after next week.
Yeah,
no, we still got 2 weeks because we got closer. So, but there was something we were supposed to do. But anyways, we'll probably just get into this and maybe have a couple like actual interviews and stuff like that next week. Get back to the roots of the show. But anyways, we definitely want to wish all the teams good luck on the season. And of course, we'll be watching every week right here on the podcast. Make sure you subscribe, follow, like, and share on all social channels at American Football in Finland. Until next time, never forget T. I don't know who's supposed to say it. Hold up. I thought, yeah. Hold on. Let's do it again. Wait. This is the part that the live is different because this happens all the time, and we usually edit, and now we can't edit it. So until next time, never forget
T
I
F.
We gone.
We gone.
Oh, I gotta press.